Hi there, and welcome to Call to Cinema Reviews. Actually, a very special episode of Call to Cinema Reviews because today we're looking at, as you can see right above me, two films. There is Midnight Montage and Crocodylus. Hopefully, I got that right. I just watched actually both of them again there this morning. Now, this is a very special one in that the director, Michael Mclaren, actually reached out to me and he said, "Can you watch these films and give me an honest review on each of the films?" So I'm nothing if not honest, and let's look into what I like, what I think could have been done a little bit differently, and kind of the pluses and minuses to each. And I'll even tell you which one of the two was my favorite film and how they were very different than I initially expected them to be. Now, Midnight Montage was an anthology film. There are 4 stories. I've got the names of the actors up here because I'm not good with actor names. I really suck at that. And Crocodylus, not at all what I thought it was. I expected Crocodylus to kind of be like those, the Asylum era kind of level of like creature feature things, like, those, when you see those things like the three-headed sharks or like ghost shark or stuff like that. I kind of expected it to be like that. And the feel to it, the look of the cover, really made me think it was like that, but in actuality it kind of harkens back to something else entirely. But we'll get to that. We'll get to Crocodylus second. First, let's talk about Midnight Montage. Now, Midnight Montage was an anthology film. I wasn't completely sold on the kind of the genres, which basically you've got this kind of in like the way you'd see with those games back then, those VHS games, where you'd have somebody come up on the screen. You have this kind of tarot reading girl that comes up on the screen and kind of introduces each of the stories, gives you the name of the stories, and then you kind of go right into them. So I wasn't big on that portion of it. Luckily, there's other portions of it that I'm extremely big on. One thing that I want to kind of like get out right away is that this was, for a lower budget film, this is a lower budget film, this was well cast. And there are some people that really definitely stood out in this film. So the first story is called The Inheritance, and it stars, I want to make sure I get her name right, Nicole Roster, who I think was extremely good in this. And basically, she's staying with her grandmother. I don't want to give too much away. And her parents have, because her parents have died, and she's taking care of her grandmother who's very ill. And things happen, shenanigans happen, and things end with a bit of a twist. Now, this story here, I liked most. I gotta say, I like most of the actors in this story, and I dug where it was going, but I'm not quite sure that I totally agreed with where it went. Which was a shame because I really, really like Nicole Roster in this. I really do. I think she can definitely do more, and she puts some more pathos in this than I would have expected. I think the thing with me is that something happens with this character and another character within the film. You can probably guess actually, but nothing that warrants like her or makes her deserve like having anything bad happen to her. So you're getting ready, you're going to the twist portion of the film, and you're feeling that if something's going to happen to this character, it's really not deserved. Because in a lot of these films, you want to see, you'll get a nasty, like in EC Comics, in Tales from the Crypt, or Vaultivore, one of those. You'll get a character and be kind of like despicable, or they'll make these wrong decisions that you can say, okay, this character gets their comeuppance. She gets an undeserved comeuppance. That being said, I did enjoy watching her in the first story, so that was kind of interesting. Now the second one is where it gets really, really good for me. And again, Janice Fisher plays the detective in the second one. Who plays the wife? My God. Oh, there. Jan Taylor Hendricks. Now, I've seen her in stuff before. So she's really... Now, this one is definitely more black comedy. And I really like Block Party. This was a really fun one. It goes in a way that you kind of don't expect, but when it gets there, it's deserved. Basically, Jan Taylor Hicks plays this suburban housewife. She's got a good family, a husband, and kids, and her past comes back to haunt her in the in this certain actor, and how she deals with that. This is more of exactly what you were expecting in one of these classic anthology films, with one of these kind of like comeuppances and that style thing. It's played very black humorous. The last second of of this story, I would have cut it. I really would have, because I just would have stuck with the black humor. But that being said, I truly enjoyed Block Party. I think was definitely one of the shining moments of this. If not the shining, like this is my favorite segment of the anthology. Block Party is good. Inheritance is pretty cool because we get Nicole Roster as well. Now we get to the third one, and that is Powerless, and it is about a magician whose mother has passed away, and he's really out of it. He's not feeling that that this is his thing anymore. He's messing up on stage. They're getting ready to get rid of him. And for most of this one, at the beginning of it, I was kind of checked out. But as we get close to the end of it, and this is a one where I can 110% say, this one particularly, the ending is a killer. It is they end it just the way that it should be. Where Block Party leans into the dark humor, Powerless, for a lot of it, wasn't really getting me. By the time it gets to the end of Powerless and we get the ending of Powerless, I love the end of Powerless, and so that one was that was a plus for me. Now on the negative side, the Corrector, which is the fourth one, kind of tries to tie things together. It starts out with an interesting concept of this teacher that can like pretty much just by touching people can hear their thoughts, and uses that to help out a kid that is in kind of in peril. But it goes on from there, and it goes on to try and connect all of the stories together with kind of a mythos or a narrative, which isn't really needed. So the teacher story could have been its own thing, and we could have just went back to the like as you see on the screen there, the mysterious fortune teller, and I would have been good with that. I don't think we need to connect all the stories together, but it's interesting. One thing I can say out of this, it's well shot. It's extremely well shot. It's well cast. So much potential. I will be watching this one again. The first three stories, like in all honesty, the first two especially, I really enjoyed, and Powerless I really enjoyed, like the conclusion of. So when you stick with it, it pays off. And that's what you want. When you're watching an anthology segment, watching an anthology, you want the end to pay off, because you can go through an excellent anthology story, and if you don't nail the ending, then that'll be then that's a miss right there. So would I recommend Midnight Montage? I would. I mean, like, it's definitely something to check out, especially for like a kind of a newer director, and I'm sort of a director that I'm curious to see like a bit more of, because like basically I go into his filmography, and really he's done around four films. He's got an upcoming one right now, actually called The Correctors. So maybe he's going to go somewhere with that. See, here's the thing. I'm curious to see where he goes with The Correctors, because although I don't think it fit well in the narrative of Midnight Montage, the actor, there's one particular actor in Midnight Montage, and I think he's in the new Correctors one as well, and that is J.J. Crown, or Crown? Oh, J.J. Crown. I'm going to hopefully get that right. And I'll say right now that I'm intrigued to see The Correctors on its own, as its own film. So it makes me wonder if like this short portion from Midnight Montage was done to kind of like pilot off of Correctors. Like you'll see things like when Immortal Tales was made, like the Beast was taken out, the short Beast was taken out, it was made into its actual feature film. So I'm actually more curious now. So the one that I initially didn't think fit into there, I think it'll fit way more into its own mythos. So yeah, I'm intrigued. Call me intrigued, Mr. Mclaren. All right, Crocodylus. This was different than I thought it was going to be. Again, he is very good with the casting of the films. This one went a little bit slower than I initially expected it to, but the actors kept me pretty much kept me going when it comes to this film. Do I want to give it away? I kind of have to. So I'm going to do some spoilers on Crocodylus. So if you don't want the spoilers, then know that I had fun with this film, specifically because it was a different type of film than I expected it to be. So if you don't want to hear the spoilers on Crocodylus, stop right now. If you do, here we go. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Earth below us. Okay. So Crocodylus looks like it's going to be your typical croc alligator creature feature type of film. It's actually not. It's actually goes in a different direction, and it comes in. And I thought I saw it coming, and I was like, "No, they're not going to do that." And then they did do it, and I was kind of glad. So there's like this old Lon Chaney Jr. film called Alligator Man, right? And this girl gets married to this guy, and the guy ends up having to go off to this bayou, where basically she's told that he's, don't worry about him, he's gone, he's, he doesn't exist type thing. And she finds out that he's been turned into a crocodile man. Why, alligator man. So why am I saying that? Well, Crocodylus goes in a very similar direction in that we don't see the creature till later in the film, but it is like Crocodylus. That's what it is. It is a crocodile man type of thing. It is very different from what we think it is when it starts out. We see like these scientists, and they see this big tooth, and you're like, okay, there's this ancient crocodile. But no, I mean, it very, 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 very different than I expected it to be. Actually, Mclaren is in this film, and it is a cool little film. I have to say, it's something that I actually enjoyed. Now, is the thing to remember about both Midnight Montage and Crocodylus is that these are low budget films, and they're using like they're working on a low budget when it comes to a lot of the effects and stuff like that. And you'll see a ton of negative reviews for stuff like this, for people that go in expecting to see their latest polished asylum film or a polished film of that ilk, where it's going to be something like that. But when you go in to watch a Midnight Montage, you're going to watch a Crocodylus, then go in knowing that you're watching a micro-budgeted, a regional film that is trying to do something different, and is trying to give you something a little bit more unique, and enjoy it for that. Like, don't get hung up on like looking for like fantastic effects. Effects overall are pretty good in Midnight Montage, and Crocodylus, it's cheesy, but I'm not the director, so I don't know for sure. But it's super low budget cheesy. But for me, it has to be. This one has to be, because it does remind me of like some of those older film types. Those kind of like super like cheesy, kind of like almost like tongue-in-cheekish, but kind of playing it straight, but being in on the joke type of films. And that's how I saw these. So which one would I recommend if you were to pick one of these two? Well, Crocodylus is definitely, it's got a more straightforward linear narrative, and it is a fun little feature. I don't want to say creature feature, but we'll say like that type of thing, like a creature-esque feature. But for me, although there were like definitely some like some points where I'd done things differently, but I'm directing it, so I'm just reviewing. Midnight Montage is the one that kind of stood out a bit more for me. I like both of the films. They have their strengths and their weaknesses. They are a micro-budgeted film, so you have to know that going in. But Midnight Montage, even though I found the characters to be weaker as a segment on Midnight Montage, and I do think that it's something that probably works better on its own as another film, because I find it to be out of place here. But that being said, The Inheritance, the thing is, I loved Nicole Ross during The Inheritance. I liked her a lot. So that I'm biased when it comes to that one, but it does still have like it does feel like, I feel like the director felt that everybody needed a comeuppance within the film, and I don't think they did. I think sometimes it's okay to be a bit jaded, and let them get away with a wink and a nudge type of thing. That being said, Block Party by far and large was for me the shining star of this one here. In the third film, in the third segment, Powerless, there's this I think it's a British actor. If he's not British, that's a really good British accent. And he's like he plays this jerk character. And trust me, his scenes are like he steals it. When he's on screen, that guy steals it. Two fun little films, low budget fun, but I would say if you're more into the creaturey stuff, but don't go in expecting like a mega shark or anything like that, or like go in knowing that it's going to be a throwback to like the 50s era of like those atomic films where basically a guy becomes a creature. But I think they probably should have. My suggestion. This is my suggestion. I probably would have revealed it a bit earlier. I wouldn't have. It doesn't need to be a big reveal, because you can go. It's something that you can go into, and just have fun with. So there you go. Midnight Montage, Crocodylus. I liked them both, but because I'm an anthology fan, then I am going to give the bigger nod to Midnight Montage. Though I think most people that like the cheesy like 50s atomic style stuff are going to go towards Crocodylus. So if you enjoyed this review, please let me know. Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, and check out the films. And I'm actually kind of curious to see how the Correctors is going to go. Whereas I don't think it works for an anthology. I think it'd work on its own. So I'm intrigued. You've intrigued me, sir. You've intrigued me. I am Aaron. This is the Call to Cinema. Thank you for joining me today in Call to Cinema Reviews. And I'll see you here again next time. Same review time, same review channel. It is time for tea.